What is happening, people? Welcome back to another trade recap this time. I'm going to go over 3 trades I've taken. One was on Thursday on GU, and I also took, I think on Thursday itself as well, I think it was gold and silver. So I actually closed the silver trade today, it's Monday, and the gold trade I have is still running. I'm thinking of swinging it, but let's go over some of these trades at the moment. So the first one I'll go over is GU. So here on GU, as you can see, I decided to short GU. If we just look at the time frames above, we have this, we can see, look, even simply looking at the weekly chart, it looks bullish as hell. Price was pushing up and moving up. And if we look at the quarterly, I know it's a time frame that not many people like to use, but the building up of this idea was basically, we came into this quarterly right here. And from the quarterly, I moved down to the monthly. We can see on the monthly, this fair value gap right here on the monthly, it failed. So whenever that failed, it inverted that area right there. I dropped down into the weekly, and I could see on the weekly, we were also failing these PD arrays here on the weekly. So we failed that fair value gap, and also we failed this mitigation block. So I was thinking, you know what, we're possibly going to continue higher. But there was one thing on the daily that was kind of putting me off, and that was a piece of resistance. So on the daily time frame, as you can see here, price was building higher. So all the longs were caught here. And then I decided that once we came into this fair value gap here, we can see it's totally unmitigated. We may see a reaction. Now I called this in the weekly market outlook. If you're not watching them, you should subscribe and watch the weekly outlook. It comes out every Sunday evening. I go over all the markets, the analysis for the week. I had literally said that I want to see price reject this level here and then come back into this daily order block to then continue higher. So what did we do? We didn't reject it, this piece of resistance, but this daily order block was failing. So because that was failing, I was able to short this. I was planning on taking out these lows. That was the plan. I wanted to see some time frame to line up. So I went down to the 4 hour. I could see quite easily here, the 4 hour was looking like it wasn't going to hold. We had this 4 hour fair value gap right here. Again, it was totally inverted. We can see this order block, this internal order block is holding right there. And also the order block itself, the mitigation block here of this area wasn't holding at all. So with that being said, that was enough for me. Like, we got all the reactions here, but it just wasn't holding. For me, that was enough to say, okay, well, my bias is bearish now. Today, I'm looking to short this. So dropping down to the hourly time frame, and we can just see right when Asia was done. Yeah, okay, so right here, this is what I was looking at. So coming into the session on Thursday, I was looking to see if I could short this. So I popped down to the 4 hour, and I can see, okay, 4 hour is holding even more. Right here, we got this 4 hour gap holding right there. So that to me was like, okay, well, if that's gonna hold, what can I get on the 1 hour? Dropping down to the 1 hour, I didn't see that we have this nice 1 hour fair value gap right here. We have that. And if I pop this forward, all I waited for was a mitigation of that 1 hour fair value gap. And again, we do have a nice order block here in the 1 hour too. It's part of Asia, but Asia doesn't look too much of a range. It looks more of an expansion. I just dropped down to the 15-minute then, and I'm just looking for a nice entry off of this. So I was looking at this specific order block right here. I'd want to see this shift where price would come down, basically take this low out, and then I'd be able to look for an execution to then short this to the daily levels. So the daily levels I was looking at was this swing low right here. That was the main area. So again, dropping back down to the entry time frame, looking for the mitigation of that hourly fair value gap. Pop it forward. Got that nice break there. So right when price broke there, I set my entry right here. So this was an execution for me. Why was it an execution? It was an execution because we took out this 15-minute fair value gap right there. We inverted that 15 minutes. So that was enough for me to short this on an execution. I didn't even wait for price to come back into the order block. I was that confident on it. Hit it at 2 hours, really, really quick. You can see that happened within the space of, you know, an hour. That was that done. That was out of the way. And it ended up actually reversing quite hard, but continue to take out the final target. You can see below. The next day, eventually took out the target right there. That was that daily swing low we were looking for. And obviously today coming in Monday, good thing I targeted my 2 OR as usual. You can see coming into today, we are now, that's what price is looking at. We ended up taking out the next low as well. So I'm continuing to look for bearish prices here on GU. I don't see anything on the weekly that kind of stands out to me just yet. I would like to see more bearish prices, possibly coming off of this breaker right here. We're inside of this gap. I'd love to see a reversal, but the thing is, again, this could just be a reaction to continue down and then obviously continue higher. So I will be looking at that as well as a possibility. But as of now, my daily bias for today, I'm bearish. Moving into the next trade, it was a gold trade, and we're still in this trade, but I'll break it down anyway. So on gold, I'll actually pop over here because you can see this is gold on the left, silver on the right, but we'll go over the gold one first. So on gold, I was looking at obviously the weekly time frame. Let's go to the weekly. And I had an idea the price may just want to continue into this weekly order block. And it didn't. We had a weekly order block. We had an imbalance sitting right there, as you can see. I was hoping to see price come into it, but the daily time frame was telling me something else. It was telling me that price may just want to continue higher without having to make such a big retracement back down. So on this day here, that was on the Thursday, I was looking at price to see if price still wanted to reject this daily fair value gap right here. We can see it's a full BPR, it's actual balanced price range. The first candle rejects it, and that was enough to tell me that if this candle does sweep the low of this, I am going to be interested to get in long. I do feel like price will not come down to that weekly. If price was to invert this area, that's when I'd be like, okay, it would come down to the weekly and then I could trade it higher. But because we did sweep previous day low, we respected the fair value gap. That's when I was like, it's time to get in long. So going over to the 4 hour, I just waited for a 4 hour entry. Now I could have taken my entry a little bit earlier, but I just waited for the same thing again. We have this switch in structure right here, and then market shifts again right here on the 4 hour after tapping the daily. That was my confirmation. So we did have this 4 hour area right here. I wasn't looking to take it because we did invert this. So I was looking to execute. Now I could have executed right here, but at the time I was literally in the gym. So I waited till I got home from the gym. And then after this candle, this 4 hour candle closed here, I executed a little bit higher. So I could have got in down here, but I ended up getting in here, which is totally fine. Now at this moment, I'm actually still in this trade. In silver, I literally just closed there not long ago, but in gold, I'm thinking maybe it's possible that I could swing this for quite a while. Now I held this over the weekend up until this morning, and it was great to see this. The alerts were going off all night long. So it's great to see this continue higher, but I would like to get a nice 2 OR out of this. And when it comes to silver, is literally hit TP as well. I actually took TP a little bit higher than 2 OR. My 2 OR was right there. I actually took it just a tiny bit more. I think it was like 2.5 OR. I'll just check it now anyway. But if I go to the daily time frame, it was the same sort of thing as gold. Weekly, extremely bullish. I wasn't expecting it to come down off that weekly gap right there. Again, had this daily imbalance, and I just wanted to see price reject it and then get in. So same sort of thing again, drop down to the 4 hour. Because I was heavily bullish on this, what I waited for here was, I waited for the 4 hour to switch, which we did get that switch as well, and we inverted this 4 hour gap right there. So on that 4 hour inversion gap right there, on the hourly, I waited for that mitigation, and after that mitigation, I then waited for a close above, as you can see right there, and I executed right there on the hourly. Just there, I executed once I got that order block straight off of that 4 hour. I had quite a bit of conviction in this trade, and yeah, price literally hit TP this morning, and I am basically out of that. I believe the TP was just ever so slightly lower. It was just around there. So it was, that was a beautiful trade. And yeah, we'll see how gold goes. That's the last one, and that's basically the trade recaps done. It's that easy. You just sit, be patient, wait for the trade to set up, and when it sets up, you hit it. Simple as that. Anyway guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, if you got some sort of knowledge out of this, feel free to like, subscribe. It means a hell of a lot to me. We're starting to grow slowly here on the YouTube. The Instagram is still taking off like crazy, which is awesome. I think I'm like close to like 1,000 followers already on Instagram, and it's only been a couple of weeks. It's mad. So I appreciate all the support so far. Feel free to subscribe, comment, and let me know as well if you'd like me to cover some pairs in the market outlook for next week's one on Sunday. And if you haven't checked out the previous weekly market outlook, it was released last night. Check it out on the channel, guys. All right, well, have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.